Welcome back to Medrash Umaisa, sharing a story for the upcoming week's Parsha. This week's Parsha VaYakhel has Moshe Rabbeinu beginning the endeavor of building the Mishkan by gathering Am Yisrael together as a tzibur, VaYakhel. The Talmud Rebbe shared the following story that he heard about his Rebbe, the great Rebbe, the Beis Yisrael of Gur Rebbe Zatzal. He heard it from a grandson of the man who was involved. There was a wealthy Ger Chassid named Rabbi Yaakov Fink. He had grown up in Poland, but he left Poland before the war. He managed to get to South America and South Africa and become a very wealthy man. The Beis Yisrael managed to escape to Eretz Yisrael together with his father, the Imrei Emes, through the claws of the Nazis. After his father passed away, he took over the leadership and was trying to rebuild the Ger Hasidus institution's way of life in Eretz Yisrael. One day, this Rabbi Yaakov Fink, who was visiting Eretz Yisrael, received a messenger from the Rebbe's Gabbai, who said that the Rebbe would like to see him. He came in, and the Beis Yisrael said to him, Rabbi Yaakov, how much money do you have available for tzedakah? He answered, a true chassid, what the Rebbe says. He said, what if I told you that I wanted you to give $20,000? I'm not very good at math, but $20,000 in the 1940s was a huge sum. Once again, he answered, if the Rebbe says. So the Beis Yisrael told him, I want you to take $20,000 and give it to Rabbi Yosef Kahaneman of Panovich, who has escaped to Israel and wants to build a special yeshiva, the Panovich Yeshiva, here in Eretz Yisrael. Mr. Fink was shocked, and he couldn't help asking. He says, Favos netnish the Rebbe fazich. Why doesn't the Rebbe take the money for himself, meaning for his own institutions, for our institutions, for Ger institutions? The Rebbe answered him very briefly. He said, Das is famir. This is from me. Meaning he viewed the building of Torah, of a different community, of a different type in Eretz Yisrael, as something that was him, part of him, because he was connected to all of Am Yisrael and cared about all of Am Yisrael. And the Talmud Rebbe said this was one of many incidents in which the Ger Rebbe anonymously helped out so many other different groups rebuild their institutions after the war. There's a fascinating explanation by the Avnei Nezer, brought by his son, the Shem Shmuel, about a Gemara in Rosh Hashanah in terms of what defines a tzibur, a community, and what defines yichidim, individuals. It's talking there about the power of the tefillah of a tzibur. And it says that people on a ship, Yordei Hayom Ba'anios, people go out into the deep sea in a ship, ki yichidim domu. They're considered individuals, not a tzibur. Why? The Avnei Nezer explained. He says, even though there are many people on a ship, they have a din of yichidim, of individuals. Tzibur means that each individual in the tzibur will feel pain and concern about the tsar of the entire tzibur. Not just being concerned about his own troubles. Yordei hayom shemiskabtzim anoshim shonim. A ship, many people get onto the ship, they have no connection with each other. They're simply in the same vessel. Ein makirin zeh, they don't know each other. Kol echad meitza b'tzarasa aprotis. Each one is only concerned about his own personal problems. Lo ichpat le mizulaso. He doesn't care anything about the lives or the problems or the issues of the other people there. He says, Al korchach ki yechidim domo. Those people, even though they're geographically gathered together on that one vessel, are viewed as individuals. The Talmud Rebbe added another story about the Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk, whose yortzeit comes this week on the 21st of Adar. They say that at the end of his life, Rebbe Melech planned to take a trip to Eretz Yisrael. And Tzaddikim said that if Rebbe Melech would have been able to come to Eretz Yisrael, he would have been able to accomplish much to help hasten the Geula. But he heard that the only route available to him was going to involve taking a ship. And he said, I can't do that. because of that same Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. Ki yechidim domo. The people on the ship are like yechidim, he says. I cannot detach myself from the tzibur even for a second. I need to have that identity of tzibur, and therefore he didn't take that trip to Eretz Yisrael. This is the message of VaYakhel. This is the picture of who we are and who we're supposed to be. And if we can aspire to that and begin to fulfill it, so hopefully there will be once again a VaYakhel as we gather to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. Have a wonderful Shabbos.